Okay, guys, this is a very interesting new concept that I'm trying here. So the other day, I was hanging out with my friend. Uh, she was at my house, and you know what? She had a couple of Magic cards with her, and she's still working on making new decks in Magic. So one of the cards that she had with her was Mogis, God of the Slaughter. My favorite guild in Ravnica was Rakdos. So originally, when Mogis, God of the Slaughter came out, I was like, oh, I always wanted to put Mogis in a deck and do something with him. It never came to me, and I don't know what it was that day when my friend came over, when it just popped in my mind to do something with Mogis. So I literally had her move over and sit next to me as I did what I'm doing right now in this video, and just create this. I don't even know what to call it. It's kind of like a red black discard, red black discard, but red black control, where the concept of the deck is to keep your opponent from really doing anything on the field and like keep their hand empty. So they're running a creature deck. It's like it's going to keep their hand empty. It's going to keep you moving on the field. It's going to keep the field empty because well, it's not really going to keep you moving on the field because like Anger of the Gods and stuff like this. To see what I'm adding right now. I'm not doing this live. This is a recording of me doing this before. And what I did was I was saying that I want to make a deck, a creatureless deck, really, besides Mogis, where the field is being destroyed because of all these field wipes, and a passive Mogis sacrificing effect. So all I need to do really is focus on burning and discarding my opponent. Now that I'm looking at the deck again, this deck could probably use some on the field ways to wipe the field. I'm trying to think of a way to do that at the moment. I'm gonna probably take this version of the deck online and play with it just to see how it does. I feel like it could do pretty interesting. And what I'm also gonna do is possibly do another version of this deck with some more tweaks. Maybe I'll try like some enchantment control or something because I want to. If I could get Mogis as a creature, that'd be great because then I could just keep wiping the field and smacking my opponent with Mogis, all while burning them with lightning bolts and blightning and discarding them. So it'd be a very very interesting concept. The deck's not done yet. All right. So is there anything else I want to talk to you guys about? So this is gonna be a new thing that I'm trying here. I don't know how often I'm gonna get epiphanies like that and just throw a deck together and it be able to work just off the skeleton of the deck that I put together. So this is just a skeleton. This is just me trying to figure out what I want to do with the deck, and just off the beginning. And also, Slaughter Games. I love that. I love that I put Slaughter Games in this deck because I always loved the card Slaughter Games, and Slaughter Games is a very interesting thing to me because it's like if I can take your deck apart and pick out all those cards that are giving me a pain, it'd be perfect because it's like now you can't mess with me. And oh, you know, we're really gonna cyber for this deck, Reign of Gore. Reign of Gore would be really good just to deal with those decks that gain you back life. I know there aren't a lot of life gain decks in the meta right now, but I played a friend of mine who will not be named. If he watches this video, he knows who he is, and he plays a very decent life gain deck. And Reign of Gore would completely destroy him because Reign of Gore is the red. As a matter of fact, I'll post it right here. You'll see Reign of Gore. Reign of Gore, as you're seeing right now, is a one red, one black enchantment, and the ability is something to the swing of if your opponent, if anybody were to gain life, they would lose that much life instead. And that card is hilarious because there was actually one time where I was playing a friend of mine who was running a something black, some kind of black deck, and I'd gotten him down to 2 life, and he had on the field Vampire Nighthawk. And the thing is that since he was down to 2 life and I had Rain of Gore in the field, he couldn't attack me with Vampire Nighthawk because Vampire Nighthawk has lifelink. And if he were to gain the 2 life, he would lose the 2 life instead and he would die. So I found it hilarious that Nighthawk was literally just sitting there, couldn't attack, couldn't block because he knew that 2 damage that Nighthawk would do, he would attempt to gain a life and he would end up losing it. So I found that hilarious. So I've always had a love for Reign of Gore. because of how it helped me with life gain decks in the past, and how it just and that particular moment. So I think the deck's almost done. I don't know if I do any more tweaks to it. Let me just see. Yeah, the deck's almost done. A couple more minutes on the video. So yeah, this is I'm gonna call this deck Mogis Bogus for now, just because I really don't know if this deck concept would work in the long term. It's just a very interesting concept, and it would work very well against creature decks. Like I would love to play it against like all color humans and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm almost done with the deck. I think I'm about to add the mountains. I had already looked at the color pie to see what the levels were looking like. I recorded this like a week ago, and I due to unforeseen circumstances, which I rather not speak about at the moment, I wasn't able to upload it. I wasn't able to do anything with it. So I don't know if I'm gonna do anything with like this format of video. Like maybe I don't know. Okay, guys. So in its infancy, this smoke is bogus. I don't know how this is gonna work. I don't know if it's gonna work well, but you know what? I feel confident enough in the skeleton of this deck that it should work pretty decently. So I got 3 Blood Crypts, I got 4 Dragon Skull Summits, 3 Lava Core Reaches just to have a main land on the field. You know, since I'm wiping the field and I'm not really holding creatures, and I gotta find a way to deal damage. I feel like Lava Core Reaches might be a good way to do so. Swamp. Let's start that over. Okay, guys, so this is the deck. This is the deck in its infancy. This is the skeleton of the deck. I might call this like deck skeletons or something like that. Because the thing is, that's what I usually do. I make a skeleton of the deck, throw a bunch of stuff on here, figure out what I want to keep, what I don't want to keep, find better versions of certain cards, and then I figure it out from there. So I got 3 Blood Crypts, I got 4 Dragon Skull Summits, I got 3 Lava Core Reaches. Just to have a man land, you know, I don't have really too many ways of dealing damage directly to my opponent besides burn. And I would like to have a consistent way of hitting them, so Lava Claw Reaches is a good way to do it. Just turn it into a land, hit for however much I can, and then it turns back into a land again. I got a bunch of swamps, a bunch of mountains. That rounds me out to, I'll count for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm pretty sure I have 6 mountains as well because the color pie was pretty much right down the middle. I have 3 Inquisition of Kozileks, 3 Thought Seizes, I have 3 Collective Brutalities. These are mostly to get stuff out of my opponent's hand. Collective Brutality has other utilities as well. I have 4 Lightning Bolts, 4 Surgical Extractions. I'm still on the fence about the Surgical Extraction, but I like it in relation to my discard effects because it really makes my opponent not have any options. Because if I make you discard a thing that you need for your deck, I just get rid of it, the whole thing, get rid of it in your deck completely, and then I won't have to deal with it anymore. Waste Knots to benefit from all the discarding I'm making my opponent do. Rakdos Return was actually a very funny card to throw in this deck because as I was building the deck, I remembered this card from Return of Ravnica. As I mentioned earlier, Rakdos is my guild. I love Rakdos. And this card would actually percolate decently in this deck because Rakdos Return deal X damage to target opponent, and that player discards X cards. So I can fill in the X of what my opponent's hand is. And if I have my Waste Knots on the field, I'm getting a bunch of Waste Knots triggers from every card I'm making my opponent discard. I have Anger of the Gods just to keep the field clean because I don't want to have to deal with any creatures. I have Blightnings to just do even more damage, even more discard. I have Mogis on the field because Mogis is the whole reason I made this deck, and also he makes my opponent sacrifice, so that's another way to get creatures off the field. I have 2 Damnations, get rid of the field once again, and I have Slaughter Games. Slaughter Games is in the same deck. Slaughter Games is in this deck for the same reason as Surgical Extraction. And the cool thing about this is that I could just name the cards. So game 2, when I know your deck, I can just play Slaughter Games and just pretty much screw your deck up because I know what you're trying to get to, and I can prevent you from doing it. So this is the deck. What I'll probably do is I'll run it online a few times. I'll probably make that video separate just because I don't want this video to be too long. And you'll see how it goes then. Until then, guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Listen, share the video for anybody that you know that plays Magic. This might give them an idea, like my friend gave me an idea when she showed me Mogis again. This card right here is the only reason I made this deck. Just looking at this card, this deck came together in my mind. So, you never know. All right, that's the video. Peace, guys.